And then if you zoom out to go like, okay, so what are the materials we're talking about? There are 5, and I was taught this by one of my first trainers. There's 5 types of materials for lenses.
Yeah.
The first one is polycarbonate. Okay.
Polycarbonate.
So you're talking about like the material, the actual material of the lens that's in a frame. Polycarbonate.
Polycarbonate.
CR39.
CR39.
It's a type of plastic. Trivex. It's like a combination plastic that they're like basically creating it. They're putting it together. The science of it. They're just putting together these resins that are making this material called Trivex. And then 167 is the 4th one. And then 174 is the 5th one.
Thinnest and lightest.
Okay. So we'll go through them one by one. There's a reason why there's a line out of the first one, line through the first one. Polycarbonate is, it was used often several years ago, and a lot of people still use it. It's durable, but the clarity rating is low. Clarity just meaning like, almost like, I was explaining it earlier today to someone about, it's almost like looking through a glass bottle versus looking through like a 2-liter plastic bottle. That's the clarity we're talking about. Not in comparison, like that's not like, it's obviously these lenses are much more clear than that.
Yeah.
But that's what we mean when we talk about clarity rating. It's like, one is just, you may not everyone's gonna notice it, but the clarity rating is higher on certain materials.
Okay.
And we'll kind of go through each one. But the polycarbonate, the clarity rating isn't very high. It's not preferred. So we just kind of eliminate that one. You don't even have to really remember it. I just like, if you ever need to explain it to someone, like maybe they bring it up, you just want to know why you don't sell it.
And you're talking about clarity rating in regards to the lens
lens.
Okay, so that affects the lens?
So it affects how clear you're seeing through a material. So it'd be like looking through glass compared to looking through a bottle, compared to looking through, what's that stuff that you pull over and you put over like your leftovers, cellophane?
Oh, yeah,
you know what I'm talking
yeah.
about, like I forget what it's called.
What is it?
Plastic wrap.
Okay.
So like, it's basically different levels of how much you can see through the lens. Now, all of these are very clear, but some are more clear than others. Does that make sense?
It's not anything that's like, oh, like this is like not clear at all.
I can't see through this because it's the clarity rating is not high enough. It's more about like, we're talking on the levels of clear. We're on the top level, but there are some that are more clear than others.
Okay. And my question to you is, would customers come in knowing this stuff? So like, or is it like me kind of like only pull it out the bag if it's deemed necessary to explain?
Yeah, most of this stuff, like the reason why I want you to know even the ones we don't sell is because if someone does come in asking for it or they are talking about it, you can set yourself up as a trusted source because you know about the material and you know why you don't sell it.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason. It's not like, we just didn't hear about it.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, no, like we know that's available.
But we don't sell it.
But we don't sell it because the clarity rating isn't as high.
Provide the best quality.
Yep. Now with kids, the one drawback or the one benefit of polycarbonate, the clarity rating isn't as high, but it's extremely like durable. Like not durable, but impact resistant. So they actually do recommend it for kids. And they recommend it for like people with just like one eye.
Okay.
So if you only have vision in one eye, they want to protect that one eye really well. So that would be the one reason to use polycarbonate. It's very rare, but those are the cases to use it.
Okay.
Another reason I want you to know about it, but we don't really sell it.
Okay. Got you.
CR39 is the next one. So the second finger, this is the highest clarity rating. And then you can see the outline there. This is preferred for the RX plus or minus 3 or lower.
Okay.
This material cannot be used with full metal groove lenses. CR39 is extremely high clarity rating, but remember it could chip or crack when you're trying to put a groove in it. And this lens, you can take a look at that frame. That lens has a groove all the way around it because that metal sits inside of the lens.
In a groove, what is that exactly on like a pair of glasses?
A groove is basically there's an indentation or there's like a gap all the way around this lens, and this frame, and we'll take this apart at some point, but this frame actually sits on the inside of that lens.
Okay.
Look on the very tip right there and see if you can see how that, you can actually see the frame inside of the lens.
Yeah, I can see like it's kind of like
inside.
layered like a cake or something.
Yep, and most lenses are just, you know, they're like edged into a frame, but they're not like,
And
the frame
one
isn't
with
inside of the lens.
Yeah.
So in that case, they have to actually drill, or what's the best word for it? They're basically like edging a hole, like a gap all the way
slip it
around
in.
that lens to slip the metal in.
Okay.
You can't do that with CR39 because it just is it's gonna crack or chip.
Okay.
So you have to use a different type of material.
Okay, I got you.
But CR39 is perfect because the clarity rating is very high, and if your prescription falls within a certain range, and that's that range of ±3.
Okay, and this was
CR39.
CR39. Okay.
Yep. So we got polycarbonate and CR39.
Polycarbonate and CR39.
CR39 is going to be your go-to unless you see a prescription above ±3,
Okay.
or you have a frame like that Lowell.
So
that frame is called Lowell.
in that case, would you find the, I guess, the frame after they bring the prescription in or before, since you said?
Well, this is so once they find their frame, that's when you take a look at the prescription. I mean, they can show you the prescription anytime, but you'll know what material to put them in based on their prescription.
Okay, so like if they find one that they like and I finally get my hands on their prescription, I would either be like, oh, I would honestly recommend changing this to like a this or something of similar style because.
Well, no, not necessarily. There are times where you look at most people that have a high prescription are going to tell you about that early on. They're going to be like, yeah, I have like a 7 or 8. And you're going to want to be careful what kind of frame you're putting them in.
Yeah.
But there's actually a solution for that CR39. So as you go down the list here, you have polycarbonate, you have CR39. Trivex is a great material for if you do have this grooved lens.
Okay.
Because it won't chip when you're trying to put that groove, when the lab is trying to put that groove in the lens. No matter what prescription, you can use a Trivex lens, a material with a Lowell frame or a grooved rimless.
Okay.
Okay. The thing about Trivex is the clarity rating isn't quite as high, but it's still high. And you really want to use, once again, you want to use that for ±3. So 3 or less on the prescription.
3 or less. Okay.
But that's the material you're going to want to use for that higher, that's the material you're going to want to use if you have a material like this. The other option is this one, it's called 167. So you have polycarbonate, CR39, Trivex. 167 is thinner and lighter than Trivex and CR39. So that's the advantage. It also, you can use it with an RX above ±325.
Okay.
So anytime you get over that ±3.25, you really want to be in that 167 material.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because it's going to keep it thinner and lighter. 167 can be used with this. The only material that can't be used with this is that CR39.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I
Yes,
know it's a lot of details, a lot of information. That 174, so this is our kind of rounds out our 5. 174, it's the thinnest and lightest material, but it has the lowest clarity rating.
Okay. And it's not preferred.
So yeah, we just don't prefer that one. Number one, you're going to pay a premium price for it. And if their prescription isn't super high, you don't really see the advantages of it. And even if their prescription is super high, your clarity rating goes down quite a bit, and what the trade-off isn't really worth it typically.
Yeah.
You know, so you'd rather, for me, the preferred is 167.
Okay.
Where you just, it's clarity rating's high, it's thinner and lighter than Trivex or CR39, but it's, you still have that really high clarity rating.
Okay.
Yep.
So
let's go back to, just to kind of make sure that this is clear for you. Let's go back to that prescription it's a single vision prescription.
Okay.
Which material, let's say they have a frame like yours or mine, it's not this. what kind of material with that prescription are you recommending?
Material. Let's see what division.
Out of the 5, which material would you recommend for a frame like ours?
And I can use the following box, the RX, to. Am I using that right now to figure out which?
Yep. Use the single vision box.
So I want to say number 2, the CR39, and then I want to say the Trivex, and the 167.
Those you can use all of those with that prescription with these glasses.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. That was a kind of a trick question too, and you got it because you can use all 3. Which one are you going to recommend? What do you think is the best options for them? Keep in mind that CR39 is the best and cheapest. If you can use it, it's the best and cheapest.
Okay. Yeah, because I'd honestly go for whatever has the highest clarity rate or rating. So I'd say CR39. I'm just looking at these other ones too. Balance and clarity rate. So CR39 is what you would suggest first and foremost out of the 3.
It's the highest value, right? So it's great clarity rating, and it's durable. It's good. It's really a great material.
Okay.
Trivex, if someone is worried more about like durability, and that's like a really big concern for them, then you can be like, okay, so the clarity rating is pretty high on Trivex, and they're really like hard on their glasses. Then that's maybe when you move to Trivex. You're like, okay, maybe this person needs Trivex. They're going to pay a little bit more for it, but it's totally worth it for them.
Okay.
167, really, the determining factor there is like how high is their prescription. They don't need it unless they have a higher prescription.
Okay, and like, for instance, if somebody was like, oh, I want a lighter pair of glasses, I'd say 167, or I know to go for something that's 167 because it is lighter.
Yep.
Okay.
The reason why you have the plus and minus, the preferred power, is because you can do, like, anybody could wear 167 material, right? Like, it's fine. Like, you can give it to anyone. The price is higher though, and the value really isn't there for someone that doesn't have a prescription over 3.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So like, while I could sell it to them, that wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't want to sell that to them because it doesn't really make sense for them.
Yeah, because it's designed for a specific prescription.
Yeah.
And it'd be higher whenever, like, in another case, you could get something for cheaper that's a better fit for you.
It's an unnecessary expense that doesn't add value. So we're not trying to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to like get the maximum value. Now, if their prescription's over 3, like there was a guy today, his prescription was like 6, and he was debating between CR39 and 167. To me, that's kind of a no-brainer to do 167.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say 167 because on CR39 it says lower, so
yeah,
it's not preferred to do since it's lower than 3.
Yep. So all that kind of makes sense. I know that like something that you'll probably have to like process over time, and as you see prescriptions and see frames, you'll have to kind of like work it out.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I think is very helpful that I have this to look at too, because like if this is straight off the dome, like I'm probably like I'm like, wait 1 minute, let me grab my iPad.
Yeah. Well, and this might be a good way for you to like, I think all this is good information for you to be able to like digest on how do we communicate this maybe digitally, online or on our website, or like give people some guidance.
Yeah.
So that's something we could build over time too, that there's a lot of other people that would probably want this information. One of the reasons we're recording it. But for our average like consumer, they might want this information too. I think the big thing with materials too is like know all 5. You got your hand here, but really it's like the 3. It's 3. It's 3 materials.
Yeah.
That you're focused on: CR39, Trivex, and 167.
I mean, other 2 we don't use, but we need to know just in case if somebody comes in.
Yeah, just have the awareness of it.
Okay.
Yeah.